everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside Texas with Mitch and Jeff. I'm Jeff Michaels, and sitting over to the other side of me over here, that's Mitch Staines. He's on location again. He's actually in the green room at the White House, or the light green room at the White House.
That's exactly right.
How are things at the White House, sir?
They're busy. They're busy these days. I will tell you, ever since Elon left, it's just all you can do just to meet the demands of the people.
And I see that you're actually sitting on the couch that Elon Musk used to sleep on.
This is where he slept.
He slept right there.
Yeah, it's not the Lincoln bedroom. It's the kids' bedroom, but
that's right. And have they cleaned up everything since Clinton left?
I couldn't tell, so I don't have access into the Oval Office yet.
Oh, did he all? Okay, we're just checking.
I got to get a stupid hat and a black coat and a T-shirt. I got to find a T-shirt so I can wear into the Oval Office.
That's right, and make sure you pull up in a Tesla.
Yes, that's exactly right. Hopefully, one that isn't on fire.
True, that is true. All right, let's get into it. Hey, first thing, I saw this on the news. I wanted to hit on this. You could talk a little bit about it. Governor Abbott signing that $10 billion property tax relief package. Tell us what you know about that, sir.
So it's I think it's a great thing. A lot of people wanted a lot more. So every homestead will get $140,000, basically a tax abatement. And homestead exemption, the same thing as a tax abatement. So what'll happen if your home, let's just use round numbers, if your home is worth $200,000, you will exempt $140,000 of that, and you will pay taxes on $60,000. And so basically it's a way to help. Here's kind of my question. Why they don't just lower the tax rate? Why do we have to pay it to begin with? And I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit there. $24 billion they had in surplus. Jeff, do you know whose money that was?
Our
that
money.
$24 billion.
Yep,
they overcharged me and you and everybody listening. So it was our money, and they make it this magnanimous thing that they're going to give us a homestead exemption for $140,000. Now, it goes a little further than that. There is in the business world, you don't pay, so you don't have to pay franchise taxes until you get over $500 million, $500 million. So it's a great bill. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad the governor signed it today. I knew he was going to. I hadn't heard he did. But that's what it is. It's a tax abatement for me and you. It discounts our valuation, our property evaluation, appraisals. But nothing in this bill, Jeff, nothing in this bill caps the appraisals. The appraisals have been going astronomically crazy in the last 10 years. Yep. There's no stopping that. So you're going to give me an abatement off the first $140,000 or whatever my home's worth. And then you're in the next 3 years, you're going to go up and say my appraisal is $100,000 more. So I don't know. It's a good thing. It's returning money into our pocket or keeping money in our pocket. It affects the tax rates. Remember, we've been talking about that week after week after week after week. Tax rates. I do have some in the newspaper. Just the other day in the Bay City Tribune, dated June 15th, at a notice of public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate. Jeff, I was really interested here. It says total appraised value and total taxable value as calculated under tax code section 2604. So just a total appraisal value of all property just in Bay City ISD, not the county, just the part of Bay City ISD last year was $2,859,000. Current year is that may be trillion. No, it can't be trillion. 3,671,488. And so taxable values in Matagorda County has gone up almost $8 billion. $8 billion. It's just astronomical. So that's interesting to get that information out. It talks about taxable values of all property, taxable value of new property, 600,000 in new property. Jeff, it's just astronomical. Talks a little bit about the tax rate if you're interested in school taxes, but so it's all tied together, but it's all our money, Jeff. And
how do we fix the problem? And the problem seems to be the assessor
appraisal. So I have a fix in New Mexico. I'll tell you what they do. Once you buy that property, then that's your appraised value until you sell it. Now, if the appraised value goes up and you sell, I say I buy it for 100,000, keep it for a couple of years, and I sell it for 200,000, the new owner pays taxes on the 200,000. I continue, as long as I own that property, I continue to pay it on 100,000. It's what I bought. Now, let me think what the other state was. Oh, I used to know this. Virginia or one of those other states. It's capped for 7 years or 5 years. I could do 7 years. In other words, once you buy it, that you know what it's going to be for 7 years, and then but see around here. Now I will tell you, they generally appraise every 3 years. They do a third of the county, a third of the county, and a third of the county. But here lately, mine's been going up every year, so I'm not sure if that's still the case.
Yeah.
But that's the bottom line is it's a tax abatement. They're going to call it a homestead exemption, but let's call it what it is. It's a tax abatement for you to have a homestead, to have a home property. Now, one of the negatives is if you rent, it doesn't help you at all. Now, it helps your landlord. And the idea is hopefully your landlord passes the savings to you.
Right.
I don't know how much of that actually happens, but that, you got to pay attention. And I know everybody's busy and you've got jobs and you've got family and you've got to come home and cook supper, and the kids have ball games and your boss is on rear end and you don't pay attention to the tax rates, to the appraisals. You get the tax bill and you go, oh my God, look at this. But it's all tied together, Jeff. So congratulations for giving us our money, or not taking as much of our money as you normally do.
Yeah. One more thing locally, give us an update on the, I know you sent out the information about Oxea, and they moved the rail car and things like that. So go ahead and explain that a little bit.
So the rail car was stable. They actually put a monitored temperature gauge on it, and so they were able to and it stabilized in such a way they didn't have to continue to pour water on it, and so they moved it back into a safe area at the facility. They continue to monitor it. It's in a safe condition. And they're going to decommission that, empty out all the chemicals, keep it safe. And then probably, I don't know what the condition of the rail car in. It said decommissioned. So to me, that means it's gone. It's going to be taken out of service. But, it was one of those things, Jeff, it brings up a good point. And that is, when I talked to the company representative, he was it never was in danger. But you plan, you you really plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Correct.
The blast radius on that was a half a mile. And you've got Rome, you've got Oxea, and Oxea and Celanese are kind of combined. They're two different companies, but they're combined. You got Air Liquide there, you got the Port of Bay City, you got Rome, USA. So it would have been a significant explosion, but there wasn't any residents, and all non-essential personnel were released. And well, you've got that other, I can't remember the other company, but they got several. Sunco is over there. Yeah. So it would have been, but it was under control the whole time. But here's my message, and I know the Judge Seiferman and Amanda Campos feels the same way, and that is we're going to share the information. We're going to double check it, triple check it. I got a little bit of flack for how long it took us to issue the initial press release. I will say that the company had not planned on releasing a press release at all because they didn't feel like it was significant enough to issue a press release. I disagreed with him, and they reluctantly did verify what I had put out was correct, because I kept asking him, is there anything incorrect in my press release? I gave him an advance copy. Of course, he had to go through his legal. He had to go through his boss. I only had to get two approvals, the judge and Amanda. He had to get several. So it did take several hours for us to get the initial press release out. But I will assure the community that if I felt that at any time anybody's life was in danger, or property really, other than those plants, I would have done it without their permission. I already had permission from the judge to go without their okay. He was very adamant about us getting that out. Truthfully, honestly, 3 or 4 or 5 times I said, okay, I said, I'm going with this press release. Is there anything incorrect? And they gave me no corrections. So I felt good about when I issued it. Right after I issued it, they did turn around and issue a press release. And then several press releases. So worked very well with them. They have more layers to go through than I do, and I understand that. Right. Different companies have different policies on releasing that information. Right. But it was always going to be contained to the property. And so, but I feel like, we had the Rome, USA situation with the ammonia leak. Was no way anybody in the community was exposed, just those workers, which is bad. Don't get me wrong. You had several of the construction contractors that were exposed, which was bad. This was different. This was all employees, but again, it's in an area of our county that's isolated from residential, and so we felt comfortable with the way we handled it.
Right. One more thing locally, which I wanted to ask, and this is what I wanted to ask you earlier before we went on the air. The declaration for disaster or whatever.
Yes.
Has that gone through and been approved?
Well, yes. It should have been this morning. I'm sorry. I was out of town today traveling. I would imagine it was the judge really is the only one that needs the approval. He does need, it does need to be voted on by the commissioner's court. Right. Now, but let's explain what that is. So a declaration of disaster, the county judge, because he's the emergency management coordinator, he's the one charged with declaring a disaster. It has about 10 different meanings as it goes up the line. We knew that it wasn't going to be able to reach the level of damage to get the state to do a declaration of disaster. But to get state assets and to get help, you have to have a declaration of disaster. Right. So you can't just say, hey, Brazoria County, we want to borrow 4 trucks, or the state of Texas, we want you to send down high water rescue vehicles. You can't do that until you've declared the disaster. Right. So a lot of people think the declaration of disaster is so they can get financial monies either from FEMA or the state. And that was not, I doubt we reached that threshold. Okay. So the declaration of disaster, because I had a lot of people say, well, where can we go get? They're thinking of FEMA. They're thinking a hurricane. They're thinking FEMA. To get state assets, the governor has to declare it. And then to get federal assets, the federal government has to do it. And each one of those have a threshold, a damage threshold that I just knew we weren't going to meet. But to get assets for the county that they needed, you had to issue the declaration. So now it was bad. We've got a lot of businesses. We've got a lot of a lot of homes that had water in them, businesses, inventory. A lot of retail establishments lost the entire inventory because of it. Thank goodness, thank God that we had no injuries and no deaths. Yeah, contributed. I tell people all the time, the job of the Emergency Operations Center is the health and safety of every person and every visitor. It's not designed to keep you comfortable or to prevent something happening to you. So that's the reason we ask you to stay in tune. But that was the reason that we issued that. It's not going to help anybody financially. There was a young lady that said that emailed me and started texting me, and she said that they were, because their home was flooded, they were in a hotel and they were going to run out of money by Wednesday. And where could she get financial assistance? And there wasn't, thinking of a FEMA. Right. And so I had to tell her that the best I could do would be local churches or the Red Cross. Yeah. So I encouraged her to contact the Red Cross. Right.
And contact your insurance company right away.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You got, those people will be able to, yes. If they can assist you, they will be able to tell you, depending on the insurance that you have, right. we'll be able to help you as
That's
well.
A great point. And document everything, right?
Yeah,
document everything.
Yeah, especially before, after, and during, whatever you got going on.
Pictures they'll solve a lot of arguments.
It takes the guesswork out of everything, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And that goes for, what you said there is perfect for hurricane season. Yeah. Same thing. We talked about this before. Make sure that you have all that information with you. Make sure you have your important documents above water level, not down on the ground, that you're able to grab and go. Andy and I were talking a couple of times. Make sure that you have stuff that the most important, the top 3 things paperwork wise that you need, and put them in a grab and go place. Right. That when you're ready to leave or somebody's coming to pick you up or whatever, you grab and go. By the way, also on the website, I did put the information in there for STEER. So you can click on it and it will give you all the information on our website at gcor1.com. Just go, you'll be able to scroll down. A lot of people said, I didn't know there was more than just your show and the radio on it. Yeah, there's everything is on that doggone website. It'll find your mother. It'll just, whatever, just go down. You can do anything you want on the website, but it will direct you into the right place to go.
Well, right. and Jeff, let's reiterate that is so important that our emergency management team knows that you have self-identified. That's what STEER is. Yeah. You self-identify that you need assistance, special assistance. It may be that you're on oxygen and depend on power. It may be that you need, if we evacuate, it may be you need transportation.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of situations. And that's, we reach out. There's not a lot. I think there's a couple of hundred people on that. It's not that big a deal to reach out to everybody and to explain whatever situation we're in. So
yeah.
it's a good tool to have.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to stuff that's going on. The country's going crazy again with all this immigration stuff. And by the way, I just wanted to let you know too. Last week we put up a picture of the guy standing on the car.
Yeah.
That happens to be an American citizen. He's I went in and I tried to look how many ICE arrests in 2025 of illegals. There, and I do have the number, but I want to talk about the flag thing first, waving the flag. Here's how you solve this problem in the butt. You and I both say, and I've talked to Mike Ferdinand about it too. If you're the lawmaker, change the law.
Yeah.
Change the law right now because of the Freedom of Speech Act and all that other stuff. You can burn the American flag. People want to burn the American flag in this. So what's the difference? People are saying, well, what's the difference? You can burn the American flag, but we can't wave our flag or the flag, not our flag, but the flag that, from our nationalities and things like that. Hey, they do it at soccer games. When people come here and play soccer from other countries and stuff, they have their flags waving and things like that. I get that. That part I understand. But we need to put laws in place where some of this can stop. It's hard to find Waldo in a big pile of people. But if somebody's waving a flag and you change the law and saying, hey, during a demonstration, I'll even go this far, during a demonstration, no waving of that country's flag. I mean, you have Israel flags flying for Israel.
Right.
You have Palestine.
Yeah.
You have Iranian flags flying now because Iran's, all of a sudden, they got brutally attacked. Well, if you don't watch what's going on, they attacked Israel and are doing all kinds of crazy stuff right now. You got people flying the flag for Ukraine. As a matter of fact, I know a couple of the state agencies flew the flag for Ukraine when it first started, the war first started, since then been taken down. But I say change the law. Change the law. Their protests were hostile. Don't be waving flag, even the American flag, in a protest.
Here's what I tell that young man. If he is so proud of Mexico, why is he living in the United States? If he's so proud of Mexico, haul your butt over to Mexico and live. Whatever country you love, go there and love it there. But
by the way, real quick too, the people that have been committing the crimes in Los Angeles, now, and I was just reading up on that as well. 96.2% are all legal immigrants of the United States. 92.6. They're the ones that are starting the trouble. Yeah. But between Mexico and Puerto Rico, have the most immigrant relatives living in the other country. They live here, but they're if everybody understands what I'm saying, their mom and dad live in Mexico, the cousins live in Mexico, but you live here, or Uncle Fred lives in Puerto Rico, and this. So there used to be on the East Coast years ago when things were going on with Puerto Rico, they would wave their Puerto Rican flags and things like that. We saw that all the time, and fighting over, hey, Puerto Rico needs to be the extra star and on the flag and all that. I've seen all that. I lived on the East Coast, so I saw all that crap. The problem is right now is we're trying to get rid of bad people.
Right.
And
I mean, terribly, terribly bad people.
Yeah.
Pedophiles.
Right.
Rapists, murderers. Yes.
But I have to say this, and I'm going to say this because I know this part is a fact. Not all Mexican. As a matter of fact, Venezuelan, Honduras. As a matter of those guys that were just started all that trouble were from Honduras, Venezuela, and Colombia. Those are the bad hombres.
They are.
The Mexican cartel, where you see MS-13 and all that, blah, 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 blah. They're sort of wiping that down a little bit. They're sort of wiping that out a little bit. They want to belong to these other cartels now in Venezuela and Honduras and things like that. And I did a lot of reading this past week because my butt stayed in a chair for one whole day this past week.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, I didn't want to move. So, and my wife, a lot of people know my wife, she's Hispanic, and she goes up in arms with some of the things that are going on. Yeah, and she agrees that bad people need to be gone.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that too.
But also, we have other nationalities that live in this country that cause just as much problems throughout the country. And no one ever says, hey, and grab them people and throw them out.
Haiti, all of those came
Dominican,
over.
Dominican Republic, a lot. So,
I agree. But I will also say, I fast want to say, can we not put politics aside and figure out a way to get legal immigration, increase legal immigration? It's a political football. Nobody wants to give the other ones a touchdown. And so they don't even pick the ball up and try to advance it.
Yeah.
That's what aggravates me. It's the DECA. I have a firm belief in DECA. So DECA is the kids that were brought over here. We educated them. They've been here. They grew up here. They've never been back in whatever other country it is that their parents came over here from.
Right.
And why they can't get citizenship. But I'll tell you why. And the Republicans get hammered because they're against the DECA students. When you filed that legislation, and go do your homework, when they filed that legislation, it was about 800,000 kids. But that's not what they wrote into the law. The law, if the law had said, let's round it up to 1 million kids, and we're going to give them citizenship and maybe even one guardian. But that's not what they wrote. The Democrats wrote into the bill that their entire extended family, whether they were here in the United States or not, could qualify. So it went from being 1 million to 13 million.
Yeah.
And I call it the poison pill. Right. When you put enough language, when you put bad language in a bill, it becomes, now it's poisoned. And so now I've actually had legislation that I had filed that got an amendment. I called it a killer amendment, an amendment that we couldn't live with. And I'm pushing this bill for the first 3 months of the session. And then I'm trying to kill, once it gets an amendment on it that we can't live with, I've spent the other 3 months trying to kill it. That's the problem today, is they get something good and they keep adding to it until it becomes bad.
Right.
And if I was king, and I want to say something about no kings protest, if I was king for a day, that would be what I would do. I would get legal, common sense immigration, so it would benefit our country. There's a lot of people in other countries that if they came over here, it would benefit all of America.
Yeah.
But real quick, I do, and this isn't on my list, but I want to think. So I want to congratulate all of those people that went out Saturday and protested against no kings, because they won. Jeff, they are successful. Here we are Monday night, and there are no kings in the United States.
I got 4 kings in a pack of cards I got over here.
Yeah, that's the only kings. So the No Kings movement won. Yeah, you protested, you went out. on a hot Saturday morning, you gave up your entire day to stop all of these horrible kingdoms in America, and you did it. Because today there was 0 kings anywhere.
No kings. Yeah.
No king.
Except the 4 that I got in that deck of cards, and we got to get rid of those now, too.
Yeah, I know, right? No king.
I went through the immigration process with Lydia when she got here.
Yeah.
It took, and here's the issue, it took 10 years. 10 years, okay, of working on spending money, spending more money, law changes, spend more money, law changes. Oh, let's do this quick. We got to do this quick and slide this in. We got to do this quick and slide this in. Oh, we got to do this quick and slide this in here. It cost us, our family, close to $15,000. Now, when do people think about that? $15,000. And somebody would say, well, it should cost them $20,000 to come to the country. No, I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe in that at all. My belief, and that's just my belief. You can kick me when I'm outside the house. I don't care. My belief is this. If you're coming from another country and want to get a work permit, so first you got to start with some kind of a work permit.
Sure. I'm good with that. I
mean, you're not just going to come over here and sit in the corner and do nothing.
Draw welfare and food stamps.
Welfare and food stamps and things like that. Okay. First of all, if our government wanted to do something, how about look at those people first, just the welfare and stamps. Okay. Are all these people legit that are sucking up the tit of America? Really? Let's take care of this problem first. That's going to save America a lot of money. That's number one. That's number one. Go. Number two, when you come across and you're in the border, you have to have something from your country with an ID. And those guys at the border better know what a fake ID looks like from Venezuela. And they better know what a fake ID looks like because you can buy those things anywhere.
Okay.
Birth certificate, a state amended birth certificate, an ID, okay? And if there's a criminal record or your social security, I mean, every country you have an ID. Okay. You have an ID number, like a social security here number. Mexico, they have ID numbers over there as well that when they pay tax. It's the same way. Venezuela, Honduras, I looked into this. They all got the same thing. You have some kind of numbered and lettered ID. Yeah. So when you come to the border and you want to be a part of the country, don't make it so freaking expensive. $10, $20, $30,000 because they're not making that down there.
Right.
Now, when they do come to the border, and if they got $25,000, $30,000, I would look into that a little bit. Where'd you get all this money from?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're rich, got some money.
Right. I got you.
We need to figure out the system needs to work itself out, how it's going to work without flubs, stubs being changed every other day because some Democratic senator goes, well, we can't do this because of this. Or some Republican comes back and says, well, we did this, and then we got to change it to this and quit changing it.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And it's not difficult, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think you and I in an afternoon could come up with great legislation that would let great people in.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's great people that are here. And I would say 96% of them that are here are fine. The relatives of Lydia's relatives and stuff, they all pay taxes. They all pay rent. They're all working. Most of them work in ranches, farms, and things like that where, now I just saw where I guess President Trump is changing hotel workers and ranch workers and things like that. Hey, let them go. Let them go. There's certain pockets in Texas that if you go and look at a ranch or whatever, those are Hispanic workers working out there, out in 100-degree heat with their hands, cutting lettuce and things like that. That's how they're making their money. So,
well, Jeff, I'm going to tell you something. And I just had my roof replaced, and every employee was Hispanic. Now, I don't have any idea if they were legal or illegal, or I didn't care. They did an excellent job. Finished it in 2 days and picked up after themselves unbelievably. I mean, it was a success story from the beginning. Real expensive, but it was still a success story from the beginning. The guys were great. It was hot too. It was hot.
Yeah, they don't complain either.
No, I mean, and
they're working, man. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they did a quality job. It was first class. I'll just tell you.
Before people start complaining about what they see on the news, before they start complaining to see, they want the real truth. I've had arguments with folks. In fact, I had a little argument this past time we went on vacation with somebody who said they all need to go back. Every single one of them need to go back. Every single. All right. So should we do all the black folks too? Should we do all the black folks that said that back too? I said, what about the Germans? They messed up, man. They killed all the Jews. Why don't we get rid of them too? Then where do you start?
And all the Irish. Remember?
My God,
because they were starving in their country.
Right. What about all the Chinese? Coronavirus came over from China. We send them all back. I mean, if you go back and really want to know about history, and let's go back to Japanese in World War II. You know, they actually took the Japanese and put them in camps in California and locked them up because they didn't, want people talking.
They were scared,
like
yeah.
And you know how many they caught? One.
Oh God.
One. Out of all the hundreds of thousands of Japanese immigrants that came over here to be safe, one was a talker. So gone. He went back over to Japan. Guess what? They made a newsreel out of that where he was executed over there because he got caught.
So, gosh. Okay.
Once and done. But there needs to be.
We
right now, there's no sitting down. There's no talking. It's all moaning and groaning and yelling and hollering. And so, I want my senators, I want my congressmen, I want everybody sit down. Okay. Before you play a football game, you don't just run out there on the field and throw the ball around.
Right.
I mean, you're never going to win. How are you going to win doing that? You have to have some kind of control. You have to have some kind of understanding. You have to cover all the bases. I mean, you have to cover everything, and we're not there. But yet you want to – I'll tell you this too. Whoever gets thrown out, with the people that they're going to throw out, they'll be back. They come back very easily. They come back very easily. It's so easy for people to come back. I'm going to tell you this. I know of one person that ICE picked up in Huntsville a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, man. 2 months ago. Okay. Early April. He's back. Okay.
Okay.
He's back.
All right.
I know he's back. I've seen him. I've heard from him. And he's back.
Right.
So it don't work. It's not working. It's not.
It's a political football, Joe.
That's all it is.
And
we got to spend money. We got to spend money on. Again, it comes back. Okay, let's grab them and send them back again. Now we spend money on the guys that are driving the buses, the guys, the detention centers, feeding everybody, doing everything.
I know.
We keep paying for it. Make it if they want to be back here and they want to work. And I can tell you about this person. This person worked hard and was making big money because he was hired at the company. He did the same job in Mexico, okay, and was good at the job what he did in Mexico, and he trained the people up here at this company how to do their job, but yet he's having a hell of a time getting paperwork because he came over here illegally. Okay, do this then. Go like this. Make it simple. Send his ass to where he needs to go. All right, fill out the proper paperwork. Do all the background checking, cover everything you need to do, and put him back to work. Now you're holding up a team of 10 people because this guy can't go and train. Come on, man. It's got to be better than this. And
I think we can do it, Jeff. I think we can. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. But when it's a political football, just forget it.
Yeah. I'm glad you're running for president and me vice president. I really am. I think we got this one in the bag.
We need to announce quickly.
Yeah, we'll do it soon.
Okay.
But and the other thing that bothers me too is the farmers. Nobody's looking at farmers. I mean, God dog, we eat to live, and we're looking at these people and not helping them. And it's like I often thought of doing diesel gas is so expensive. Everything on your farm is diesel anymore.
Right.
We're giving all these people allotments and money and this and that. Hey, why can't you give the farmers cheaper diesel to buy? It's for their equipment and
farm
diesel.
Yeah, it's its own thing. It's farm diesel.
That's right, farm diesel. Why can't you help them out? They're the ones.
It's just not, Jeff. It's just not farmers. It's our shrimpers. Our shrimpers.
Absolutely.
In Palacios. I mean, it was funny. Carolyn was working for the state at the time, and the shrimpers needed employees, and they were trying to get the H-1B1 visas, whatever the work permits are. And they made her go down and do a special job fair. And these people had to put all of these public notices in the paper. And they had 2 people apply. Neither one of them were eligible. Neither one of them could be a deckhand. But they made this company. They made all these companies spend all this money to prove that there wasn't any job applicants, and it worked. They got their visas that they needed, but why go through all of that pain and suffering? And if they were turning away able-bodied Americans and hiring these folks from other countries, that would be one thing. But they weren't even getting applicants at all.
Right. Right here it says in May 2025, ICE's Los Angeles Enforcement and Removal Operations, ERO, arrested 239 individuals during a week-long operation focused on bolstering public safety in the greater Los Angeles area. The arrest targeted individuals with criminal histories, including convictions for offenses like involuntary manslaughter, assault, and deadly weapon, and more. Now,
convictions, Jeff, not charges.
Right.
Convictions.
Out of those 239, that individuals that were ICE, it was 20 of them out of the 239 were the ones with those convictions and deadly weapon charges and stuff. So it was 20 of them out of the 239 that they got. Let's see. Over 300 protesters were arrested across at least 5 cities during the demonstrations this past week. Increased activity. ICE has recently increased its daily arrest targets, with a senior DHS official noting that 2,368 individuals were arrested on June 4th and 2,267 on June 3rd. This represents a significant increase from previous daily arrest rates under the Trump administration.
What is the deportations rates on Trump versus, let's say, Obama? Obama was the deportation king, wasn't he? Right. Oh, wait, we don't have kings. The deportation winner. I thought he had more deportations than anybody.
Supposedly. Okay.
But I don't know. It's all, it's just all a political.
All right. The Department of Homeland Security says carried out an average of 352,000 deportations per year overall in fiscal years 2020 through 2024.
Okay.
That's 352,000. ICE was responsible for an average of 146,000 of those.
Okay.
I could pull up those figures. Let's see.
Well, maybe next week. I'm just saying. Yeah. I don't think Trump's doing any more than any other president or any other administration. I just think that we don't like Trump, so we're just going to be ugly and we're going to go stomp and scream and we're going to protest because that's what the left and the liberals do.
Yeah. Well, yes. But there's some things you have to admit that are being carried out that are a little not correct, if I might say. And I would say there are some laws that are being overlooked that can be handled. And with this conversation, this goes on another conversation that I had with an attorney locally that said that some of the things that are happening, there's a system how to handle the situations, and it's not, they're overlooking the way it's supposed to be handled. And I could see that, but there's some mistakes being made as far as grabbing the wrong people and taking them out, or the wrong people and giving a bad taste about how things are handled, ones that should not be. And I was trying to pull up that number, but it's blocked. By the way, it is blocked by the Trump administration right now. It says it's being blocked. So that number's, yeah. So the number out on mishandled deportations. Okay. Mishandled deportations. That's what I'm trying to get to. It just popped up there. Mishandled deportations. So around 100,000 mishandled deportations since March and April of this year since then. So there's some folks that are legal, didn't have their paperwork with them, and went through hell sitting at the border, saying, hey, I'm telling you, I'm legal and this and that. So
that's not right. I mean,
no, and you can't profile either. Profiling is totally against the law. You're not supposed to do that. And some are. I'm not defending the people that are over here that are bad hombres and shouldn't be here. Hell, yes, I agree. They need to go. I believe that. But I believe also, besides the Hispanic community, there's other communities that need to be.
There's no doubt.
And you had brought up something on mental health.
Yeah.
The mental health thing that's going on. I still really would like to get that person on and find out how much of things like this and Ukraine war and all this affects a person that's surrounded by this every day.
And in addition to that, Jeff, is depending on what news channel you watch.
Right.
I was on the road quite a bit this morning. I was listening to the talk show, and they were interviewing this woman, older woman, not a young girl, older woman that was at one of these No Kings rallies, and she's losing it because and I could tell she was not faking it. She was scared to death, and of course, it was all Trump's fault, and she was just scared to death. And there may be some of it. It's not all Trump's fault. I mean, you and I have had this conversation. There's very little a president does. A president puts a bunch of people that thinks like them in a position of power, and then they're the ones doing it.
Right, exactly.
I loved Rumsfeld when somebody asked him. He was defense chair and he's the defense secretary, and they came running over to him and said, "Well, the White House said blah 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 blah," and he said, "Who said it?" They said, "Well, the White House," and he goes, "The White House is a building. What person said it?" The White House is a building. It ain't said nothing.
Rumsfeld always reminded me of like Dick Cheney's brother.
Yeah. He was, and it was so true. I still remember it. Who said it? Not the what? Don't give me a name. That lots going wrong. Lots going right.
You know what I saw? When I thought I was young, this was in the 80s when Reagan got shot, and this is when I knew our government's I'm like, man, they really don't have their crap together. When Secretary of State jumped in took over for Ronald Reagan. What was his name? I can't remember. And the vice president goes, the vice president jumped up and said, I'm the one that's supposed to be running things right now. You don't come in and you're taking my
Casper,
job away from
Casper Weinberger.
Casper Weinberger. Yes.
He was, yeah.
Yes.
He said, "I'm in charge here."
Yeah, that's what you remember. Don't forget that. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So you're telling me they took out the vice president too? And I'm like, and the vice president sitting here was Walter Mondale, right? It was Mondale.
I remember that.
And comes out, and he didn't say anything. He just stood there looking like. I remember him looking back and forth when Weinberger came up to the podium.
Yeah, I'm in charge.
I'm in charge. And Mondale just looked. I'm like, really? I didn't know it. I thought it went this way, and that's when I started thinking, like, wow. And that's when I got involved. At that time, 1980 is when I got involved in politics. I just say, I just like, wow.
Yeah, they really don't know what they're doing.
No. And the thing going back to the mental health stuff.
Yeah.
The people in the middle, the ones that are in the middle, the ones we should be hearing from, the ones with the helmet on going, okay, well, you guys are nuts over here and you're getting out of hand. Yeah. We're not hearing from those people.
Yeah.
And mentally, I don't think they want to speak because they're going to get jammed by both sides. Right. And some of them have. Some of the ones in the middle have got jammed. And it's mental anguish to think, agree. Okay, so now I got to pick a side. I got to go way over here or way over there. I'm sorry, I don't want to walk that hallway. Yeah, I don't want to walk that hallway. I never want to be called Republican, and I never want to be called Democrat because I'm not either. I'm independent. Sure. And I think there's a lot of strong independent people out there. Now, you want to represent your party, that's fine. I have nothing against the Republican Party. Sure. Nothing against the Democratic Party. But you need to get your crap together and work together and make something happen for the people in the middle.
Well, and here's what's funny, and I'm not going to name any names, but in the last several years, even at the state level, and I might name some, John Sharp, for instance. There you go. There were Rick Perry. He was a staunch Democrat for years and switched parties. There are a lot of elected officials that switched parties based on the mood of the voting public. Yeah. Matagorda County itself, you go back 6-8 elections ago, there wasn't a Republican elected official countywide. Now,
by the way, I was just told it was Alexander Haig.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Thank you, Andy Kirkland.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He was in charge.
Alexander Haig. Yes.
But there's a lot of folks that are switching parties just based on the voting of the public.
Well, Trump did it too.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I don't think we have but one. I could be corrected, but one countywide elected official from the Democratic Party. I think there's one, and it's our district attorney. And he and I had that conversation.
Well, I think we have a councilman too that's a Democrat. Bay City?
Huh? Yeah, but they may lean there, but that's nonpartisan.
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to declare on a city where you sit.
Yeah.
But clearly, the vibes are there, so to speak.
I know that our county attorney, he was a Democratic chair.
Democratic Party chair, and now he's in the Republican Party.
He is in the Republican Party, and I had to smack him around right after he did that. You and a handful of others, yeah.
But you know what? I know very, very, very well. They were. But
I still smack them around. Don't get me wrong. We still.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
They probably still do too. There's some pretty strong women that I'm thinking of.
Oh. Yeah. That's true.
They probably talked to him, but there for a while they weren't even talking to him.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that funny how they changed party?
I know.
Get him to talk to you.
I tried to get a friend of mine to switch years ago, Huey Mikulski, and I kept telling Huey, and that was when Fort Bend was switching from Democrat to Republican. And I told Huey, I said, Huey, you got to change parties. And he goes, Mitch, I'm not changing parties. And just hardcore, he said, I said, what you're going to lose? And he said, well, I'd rather lose than switch parties. And you got to honor his commitment, but he lost. He lost re-election. Dora Olivo won. Dora was a really good friend of mine as well. But Huey ended up moving off to Utah.
I just wish we could elect people that we work off of their values and not a party value.
I wholeheartily agree to that.
You know what I mean? I always want to vote for the best person, the person that is speaking to me, not what a party is telling them to say.
I know. So
the party gets in. I give a rat's butt, 50-50 down the line and put an independent or whatever. But what do they say? Tea Party, or I don't even know anything about that. But all I know is
the Tea Party. The Tea Party, we thought back in the day, was extreme right.
Right.
They've gone further right than Tea Party.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for instance, the Republican plank, if anybody really cares, and the Democratic plank is just as absurd. But if you ever really want to see, look at the Texas Republican Party and their planks. They call them planks, goals, call them beliefs. But I just don't understand when they talk about eliminating property taxes and what you're going to replace. You got to run government. You got to run city government, county government, state government. The state has no income tax.
Right.
And so if you do away with property taxes, how are you going to fund the state of Texas? And their idea is increase the sales tax. Today, we pay 8.25% of everything we buy is a sales tax. They're talking about increasing that to 25 cents. So instead of buying something for $1 and paying $1.09, $1.08, you're talking about now paying $1.25.
Right.
And that doesn't sound so much. Go buy a car with that increased sales tax. I think you kill an economy, but that's a whole nother night, Jeff.
Yep. So buying something for $10,000 comes out to $12,500.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw the other day where people were saying as well that, Donald Trump was a businessman. And I always thought, and this is my thought, was we need a good businessman to come in here and clean up house, clean up shop. And sometimes cleaning up hurts. I get it.
It's
but
true.
when people say to me that the United States is not a business, I don't know. It runs on the same realm as a business.
I agree.
Takes in money, pays out money. And they say, well, you can't say the United States is a business. I'm sorry. If we're attracting people to come here and spend money here, it's no different than owning a restaurant and saying, hey, I want people to come here and spend money here. And then I'm going to have workers that I got to pay. Well, you got state workers. You got
that's right.
Big national workers. So you're paying those people. So tell me, you better convince me somehow better than that it doesn't work. You have to have the good concept on business and how it works. And even to run a country, I don't know. There's a lot of things that need to get fixed. I think there's too many hands in the pot stirring both sides, pouring too many potions into one. We got something good. We got this bottle, and then all of a sudden we're going to stack 400 bottles on top of it to make it better. It's like, it just, to me, it just doesn't, I don't know. Doesn't make sense sometimes. So if you ever ask me if I'm Republican or Democrat, the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I keep telling them I was a Green Party candidate.
Green Party. There you go.
With a libertarian twist.
All right, laddie, you're from Ireland, are you? The Green Party, are you?
Yeah, that's right.
Get some of those potatoes going over here. All right, we got to get out of here. I went off of some of your stuff. Not very well. We got off the track again, but
that's okay.
The hour flies fast. Hey, coming up again, it's going to be out next week. We're going to try to get all these interviews from these different people this week so we can put together the video for your safety here in Matagorda County. The judge and Amanda and Mitch and all these folks, we're going to put up something together really, really great that can be used year after year after year after year for you folks to understand how it works for hurricane season and what you should be prepared for, what to look forward to, and what to listen for and read. So we're going to get that together and have that out. Hopefully by next week we'll have that done. All right. Good. And Annie Kirkland too. All right, Mitch. Well, hey, tell the president while you're there. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for the Mar-a-Lago pass to play golf on the golf course.
No problem.
Appreciate it. And get tan. Sleep in the green room. We'll see you all next week right here on Inside Texas. Adios for now.